Hello, I am Martha Knight and I am the emerging producer with SoloSIRENs, and I'm going to be chatting to Michelle Henry today about our experience as mentees throughout the SoloSIRENs process.
I'm Michelle Henry and I was the assistant director in the festival. So we might just get started.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I think first, how did you come to the festival? Because it's kind of interesting to hear about that.
I can't fully remember how I got involved in the festival. Obviously we know Jenny and Jen a long time, and I'd regularly call up Jenny for advice on my own projects when I'm having trouble as a director, and I've always wanted to assist direct on a project, but I didn't feel comfortable approaching people that I didn't know as well, and I wanted to work with someone who I trusted and who wouldn't just send me to go get coffee or whatever. So when I watched the Abbey 5x5, I went to that show, and afterwards I was chatting to Jenny about it, and she'd said that she was starting to do weekly workshops with the community collective, and she just told me I was welcome to come along to those. And yeah, I just kind of went to a couple of those, and then we started having more conversations about how much involvement I want in the festival and what I feel like I could give to it and what I want to gain as a director. We talked a lot about what I hope to learn and what would work best for me. So I guess it started like that. I just kind of threw myself into it after that. And what about you? How did you get involved?
I was kind of, it's interesting obviously that you say you don't know when it started. It was just a really gradual build into just SoloSIRENs. I think my first week was with the 5x5, so I was working as stage manager and assistant producer sort of in there. That was, I think I'd been working with Tala Community Arts for a while, and obviously Jenny's a mentor to Fresh to Ground, and we were in Carousel with Jen years and years and years ago. So I'd have the same, a similar relationship where you'd just be having these conversations with Jen and Jenny all the time, and it would just you don't know where one project ends and the other begins, and how these things just develop into mentorships. There was never an official now I am a mentee. And I know the two of us talk a lot about how different the room feels in SoloSIRENs, how different the rehearsal room feels and the production process feels. I just remember being there being such a standard of care from the very, very beginning in that room in the 5x5s, and just being this is a place that I want to be, I was wondering, is there any interesting moment for you that stands out throughout the process?
There was loads of moments. I think I really enjoyed we had sharing sessions, I suppose, during our workshops. So the artists who were involved in the festival, some of the artists like Jenny, Jacinta and Nicole would come in, and they would give us a bit of an insight into their process of creating their piece, and we'd learn some of their methods. They facilitate different ways of devising work. So that was really nice to kind of practice different ways of devising, I suppose, with the group. It was really good as well with Nicole's piece. I remember we all had to bring in one of our favourite pairs of shoes, and we were just all strutting around the dance studio, and we were red in heels, and it was just such a great way of exploring a piece, and how did it feel doing that. And it was just really empowering and fun to be in a room with a group of women just all walking around in heels, and that was us making theatre. And during one of Jacinta's workshops as well, I remember at the end there was this really informal Q&A where everyone was just asking her basically about her journey as an artist, and she was just sharing lots of her experiences with the group, and everyone absolutely loved that. And it felt like such a supportive environment that all these women were in here sharing their stories of how they are where they are as an artist, and giving advice to each other. It was such a lovely atmosphere, and I actually really enjoyed those parts where we just kind of spoke, even outside of making the work, where we just got to sit with an artist and just talk. What do you feel
I think the big story that I that sticks out in my mind is I don't know if it's going to be like mentioned in the symposium already by the time I've spoken about this, but when Ciara, the technician, the night before, like the opening night of Enthroned, Jenny was looking for someone to do her makeup, and Ciara, like from the back of the theatre, was like stood up. I don't know, she stood up in my mind. I have like where she like stands up and she's like, I'm a qualified makeup artist, but she was like, oh well, I'm a qualified makeup artist if you want me to do it. And it was just so just such a little story that's really like symbolises a lot of what SoloSIRENs was to me. Like the sharing of skills, and everyone just had, like as you say, like the confidence and just the like the power in themselves to stand up and say, like, actually I have this skill and I'm able to do this, and I'm bringing this to the pot to share it.
I always thought that her makeup looked really nice, so when like you were saying that story, I was like, that makes so much sense. I think I complimented her a few times on her makeup as well. I was
thinking as well about what you said about like everyone being in the workshops together, because I was thinking about this this morning about like formal mentorship, and like in like a formal mentorship you would be like reporting nearly to like one mentor, like that is your person, and you are like the person who's learning from that one like skilled person. And obviously like both of us, because we were shadowing, like I would have been mostly shadowing Jen and you would have been mostly shadowing Jenny, like we were learning skills from them. But then there's also this other aspect of like just gaining, like collecting things from each other, and I think that I learned a lot from the collective. I think I learned a lot about like care and like how to be in a room with people and how to be in a process. I think I learned a lot from like the other artists and from Jenny obviously, and from the collective about that. And it's just like interesting that both of us had that experience where almost like it takes a village to raise a child or whatever. It's a really like feminine like way of bringing up someone through a process, you know, I don't know, there's something really interesting in that, how we both
it was almost like everyone was giving you mentorship. Like anyone you met along the way really wanted to know, like I felt really wanted to know about me, and like was asking me a lot of questions and offer me opportunities to jump in different parts as well. And like I had lots of conversations, even though I was shadowing Jenny a lot, I did have a lot of really good conversations with Jen throughout the process. And it was great. There was just, you could get involved to the extent that you wanted to and get as much mentorship in any direction as you wanted.
And I think that was just because the whole ethos was like to highlight people and like to just bring, like everyone has different experiences of everything, and like everyone is just here to share what they have, you know. And it was also nice, I felt like as a mentee that I was able to like bring things to the table. Like I was more confident in being like, actually I'm quite good at this, and I think that I can do this, and I can, you know, I have like ownership over this work that I'm doing, but I need a little bit of help here or whatever. I thought that was just a fun part of it.
I suppose, did we talk about like just working with the all-female team as well? How did you feel about that? Like, did you notice a massive difference from compared to your other work?
Yeah, I think even with like I think I've said already, but like in the 5x5 week, just like the care that was there, and like the like level of respect that I had, even though I was doing like maybe like a more logistical or like admin based job, like the respect was still so there for me and for everyone else. And like there was, people would like thank you really like genuinely for just like getting them a sandwich or something, and like that continued through the process. And I don't know if that's because we have like a deep appreciation of those things, those like caring things as women, just like we understand that that's a job and that's labour and stuff, that we really get that in ourselves. I think that the gratitude that was there, I think that was maybe unique to this process as like a female-led process for me, and I think that was due to how the whole thing was facilitated from beginning to end, and it was also just due to the the amazing collective of women that we had, and just like the like deep care that we had for each other.
It comes down like a lot to the type of leadership that's in a project as well. Like Jenny and Jen, for me, I felt fully led by example. So like totally. They had such a caring approach and an understanding approach and a people first approach that like reflected on the rest of the group. Like, you know, people in positions of leadership absolutely influenced the room and the project, and that they were always like so calm and so caring in their approach, and that there was always like time and space that like fostered a better personal and artistic relationship between everyone involved. I feel like that's probably something I'll take away with me, like if I go forward in my work, just like that I need to like set an example for the room and like how to approach things. And something really good that I learned as well, like I'm always panicking when I'm doing projects as a director, when like we get to like, I don't know, like a ramp in the road or something, and we have to decide what to do with the piece. And if I'm not sure in the moment, I just get like absolutely like riddled with anxiety, and I'm like, oh my god, like I can't think quick enough, like, you know, this is a high pressure environment, like I don't know how to solve this problem right now. And I saw Jenny a couple of times, and when she was unsure, I was like watching like a hawk. I was like, okay, this is the moment, how you solve a problem under pressure. And she was just like, I think we might leave it, like let's just think about it. And I was like, you can do that? You can just say, let's think about it, or like ask other people what they think. It was just so nice to see that you don't have to know all the answers as director, and like that's okay. And like nobody blinked when in the room when she said, oh, I'm unsure, because there was just such a like great amount of trust there. I think trust is really important in a project, and they trusted everyone so much, which just encouraged a lot more respect between everyone involved as well. And like adapting to things too. I remember one of our workshops, just by chance, like a winter evening or whatever, everyone has lives outside, and we only had like maybe 3 or 4 people, I think it was, in the workshop. And I was like, oh, it's going to get cancelled, like what's going to happen now? We're losing like a rehearsal day. And Jenny was like, no, we're just going to go forward with it. And like we had to completely change the plan, and it was so nice to see that as well, to just like stop, breathe, let's make do with what we have. Like these are great people we have in the room, we can definitely get something positive done together now that's going to, even if it's not going to go towards the piece, it's still going to be useful for the process.
It is like, it's just about the deep thought that went into everything. I think that's something that I really like picked up on from Jen and Jenny, like how much they had thought about every tiny thing that was happening in this process, and like the like taking a step back and looking at it as like a whole, because it's a pretty massive thing, like, you know, if you like to think about, like it's a new ethos, and it's a new way of making work. And like I remember being in meetings where we would talk about like how are our meetings feminist, and like how is this, obviously we talked a lot about like how the model and structure is like a feminist structure, and like suddenly you're talking about like buying people lunch, and then that's like exploded into a big conversation about like feminist theory and stuff. And it's just like the way every single thing was like thought about really, really deeply. I think I'll carry that into like how I make work in the future. I feel, there's so much as well. There's like,
I noticed that as well though, when we've had other conversations, you've been so like you want to have such a like loving approach to every like project that we're talking about in the future now, which is like so nice.
I've even noticed like with Freshly Ground, it's come into our conversations like more like care, and like obviously we had it already, but like we have like a language now to talk about it, like our ethos of care, and like how we look after each other and how we look after ourselves, and like we're like like the I don't know, the way that we talk about those things has changed. And
definitely like we're not just talking, like usually we'd be so like panicky and like into the work that we're doing, and it's just about the work. But now it's like, no, we need to make sure like every one of our performances is looked after. We can't do this unless we pay everyone really well, and we can't do this unless like everybody's free and not under stress or whatever. So it's good, because you can get so caught up in just like wanting to make the perfect product,
Exactly.
that you just like lose that along the way. But if you just put people first and like you're always thinking about your artists more than like the work, then it's something positive is going to come out of it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting that we've both picked up, like, as well as picking up, obviously, like, you've got like real like solid like directorial skills now, and I've got like more like production skills, but we've also both got we've got a different idea of how a project should be run, and like we've got different structures in our brains, and like different like how to incorporate care into a process and stuff, and like that's come from this mentorship, as well as like, you know, more like solid skills and stuff that's it's like being trained in like a way of thinking or something, you know. It's kind of fun, it's interesting.
Like, I didn't realise how like deeply this has affected you.
No, it actually has though. Yeah.
Right, will we leave it there?